Well, hello again, everybody. It's week number 8 in the National Football League. The Inside Blitz is back, and so is that guy, Ron. Ron, you're looking great, whether your hat is on straight or backwards.
Yeah, improving every day.
Good.
Always, like I said, good diversion to talk sports, to talk football. Keeps my mind off any other recovery things,
Yeah.
and the NFL is just smoking right now with all the storylines.
Yeah, it's nonstop, and you got to love it. I cannot believe we're already close to the halfway point. This is
Mm.
insane how fast that clock goes. It's bad enough I'm already looking at my second hand now every day to see how much longer I have left. Wondering if Las Vegas Cris will be joining us. That's a TBD on a weekly basis. But if he can, and I know you're watching, Cris, come on in anytime. You can get away from your lunch, and it's the least you could do. It's also the most you could do today. So, anyway, Ron, what's your favorite storyline of the week thus far? I've got some great interviews coming up from the formerly Baltimore Colts. I'll never forget that, so I'm always going to call them that. But anyway, including the number one running back in the league. So go ahead.
If I had to pick three storylines, it's what are we going to see out of Baltimore now that they've had the full bye with, just a disastrous defensive stat sheet. The Aaron Rodgers Bowl, Green Bay and Pittsburgh is obviously, and it's important for both teams because Pittsburgh had that loss last week, and they're no sure things to win the division or get in the playoffs. And then the final thing is, hey, let's be honest, the number one team right now in the NFL is Kansas City.
Yep.
We've had 4 or 5 different teams in my power ratings reach number one. I have a feeling Kansas City is going to stay for a while, just the way they've constructed the team.
Yeah. Well, number one is Kansas City, but is number 2 or extremely close Indianapolis?
They have made my top 5 for the first time. They're really bunched in the 3 to 6 range. Number 2 is Detroit.
Okay.
And then you get a 3 through 6 that's really, really close, including the Rams. So the Rams and the Colts have made the top 5 to 6 for the first time this year.
Yeah, the Rams are one of 6 teams with the bye this week. And I would think that most of the bye clubs are in a good spot to have it now as we get, a little more into the season. Any thoughts on which teams, particularly maybe the timing is not so great? You got Jared Goff, Kyler Murray, Trevor Lawrence, Matthew Stafford, Geno Smith, and Sam Darnold all on the couch right now watching this show. I hope.
Well, I don't think it was a great. I know Seattle played on Monday night, but they're firing on all cylinders. So I don't think it was a perfect buy for them because their rhythm was so good. You might say the same about the Lions, too. I know they've had some injuries, but everybody has injuries. Theirs would be middle of the pack at best. And, their key players are there. So there's no problem. The other ones really needed the buy. The Rams coming off London, it's a necessary buy. The Jags need, like somebody said in our chat yesterday, every week they need a bye week. Vegas desperately needs a bye week, and Arizona blowing 3 straight leads of a touchdown or more, and that played out perfectly. We talked about that. There's something missing from Arizona, and now they're staring at 3 teams in the division that are all 5-2.
Yeah, and one of the things about the standings right now are the teams at the top. There are a few surprises, but for the most part, not many, and as expected. But the NFC West is just, that could come down to the final week.
This is a neat design that you have there. So if I could say a few words about that,
Please.
Probably expected the Steelers to be out or near the top because their early schedule wasn't bad. And the Bengals, of course, losing Joe Burrow. The Patriots' schedule is just so easy, but that win at Buffalo, or the win against Buffalo, was very important to them to put them there. The Colts is unexpected. But if you look at their stat sheet, it should be expected because of how, that stat sheet has no flaws, but coming into the season, you would not have put them at number 1. The other ones are pretty much as according to form. The 49ers schedule. I mean, the 49ers have had brutal injuries. We know that, but at least the schedule has kept them up there. Maybe the Seattle Seahawks a little bit. But to me, Seattle and Indy are performing above my early expectations, and there's no fluke in what they've done.
Yeah, and I want to ask you from a futures standpoint, where are you as far as any division leaders personally, where you stand and where you had things before week one?
Yeah, so the Steelers are where they should be, but I wouldn't necessarily keep them there, even though there's a million injuries in the division. They got to take care of their own business.
Big time.
They got to play better defensively. That's a little bit of a surprise to me. The Colts are absolutely deserved favorites right now. You know, there were negative indicators second year in a row for Houston, but I just didn't have a team to put ahead of Houston. So I gave Houston kind of a lukewarm back of the hand slap, say, okay, maybe you should still be the favorite. Tampa's much like Tampa, brutal schedule. Can Baker Mayfield do it 3 years in a row? But I had nobody to put ahead of Tampa. So that was the situation. The Jags were there for a while, but then I faded them during this season. I just think they're more pretender than contender.
Absolutely.
And we'll see about the 49ers. They're in a dogfight. I think their toughest games are going to be in division because that fourth place schedule has made it pretty cushy outside of the division.
Hey, you tend to have at least a couple of teams, though, before the year that you will go out on the limb and put at least 50 cents on to win their division. Did you do anything this year?
Division, the only thing I did early in the year was Green Bay, but I got them at a tremendous price. It was hanging there for about a week. I think it was plus 275-ish or whatever. And I think Detroit has earned the right to be called the favorite in the NFC North. Yep. But 275 is 275. And if you tell me that, I just think I'm going to win that play at least 1 out of 3 times. So it's good value, but the Lions remember, Green Bay has a win over them, but still the Lions have been more impressive so far. Birdie asks, is this a must-win week for Houston? And because it's a home game against a team that's still struggling with injuries, the way Indy's going, they're going to be hard to catch. But if Houston wants any chance to make the playoffs, I do think this is a must-win game for Houston.
Interesting. Week 8, we already have must-wins. I love that.
I mean, look at their record. It's just not good enough.
No, you got to turn it around immediately. Although their defense has been pretty much what you would hope. It's just that their offense is absolutely non-existent.
Yeah, another great pass defense, but Stroud doesn't look comfortable. The offense, he's rushing things because the offensive line, it just seems like it's a turnstile. The good pass rushers are getting through. They have interesting running backs, but they're more kind of 3-down running backs than anything else. They're not really pushing the pile.
Right.
And for the 10th year in a row, probably, they don't have an impact tight end. They kind of get by committee.
And for the 10th or maybe 100th year in a row, or certainly in this era, I will continue to stress that a team like that, in my mind, needs an offensive mind to run the show, not a defensive guy who I absolutely love in D'Amico Ryans, but I don't know if he's the right guy for the right team, because I think it's their offense. It's a different league. You got to do something.
Yeah, they need to shore up their offensive line. They added 2 wide receivers who were both, especially the second of the 2, Noel, was very impactful with Nico Collins going down with injury during the last game. Ryans tried. He actually fired his offensive coordinator from that I thought was doing an okay job in 2024.
Yeah, he was the one that was getting head coaching job possibilities.
That's right.
Remember?
It's exactly. What have you done for me lately?
Like last night.
Yeah. This league is crazy, and
it is crazy.
It trickles to the NCAA. 1 minute James Franklin has you in the Final Four. The next minute they're buying him out for $40 million or something like that.
Yeah,
so exactly. They got a first-year offensive coordinator. So they're trying different things. It all starts with the offensive line, and that has to get fixed.
Yeah, I would be shocked if Miami starts interviewing James Franklin, not Miami U, the Dolphins. You never know. I mean, in this stupid world of coaches. Let's delve into the team, the best team in the league that nobody cares or thinks about, and that's the Indianapolis Colts, who I got a chance to hang out in their locker room on Sunday after they beat the Chargers, and pretty handily, although, Harbaugh's guys fought back, made it a game, but they never really had much of a chance to win it. And Shane Steichen was back home. He was with the Chargers for I think it was 9 years and 2 different stints. He is a huge part of that organization over the last decade plus. But now in his 3rd year at Indianapolis as the head coach, I got a chance to ask him a couple of questions after the game. So let's hear from the coach.
What's it like for you to come back here twice this season, play so well, but yet you could have been 2-0 so easily?
Yeah, it's great to come back here. Obviously, I got a lot of great memories here. This one was, for me, was a little emotional, a little bit, just because I had so much, respect for the Chargers organization and from the top down and all those players and, coaching those guys and then seeing the alumni day today and right before pregame, it was wild. Just little memories here and there with some of the guys. I was the quality control coach when those guys were playing, and it was fun to see those guys. Just a ton of respect, for the Chargers organization.
How has your offense progressed over the course of the season? Have you seen it get better?
Yeah, I mean, we got to keep going. But I think, those guys are connected at the hip. Like I said, it's this stuff you don't see behind the scenes. The work that's put in every day. I mean, Daniel's, as good as it gets when it comes to the preparation. He's going to be prepared, and I just have no doubt he's going to go out and play well every time we step on the field, and I think our guys know that, and he gets us going. Our offensive line sets the tone, but his preparation's just off the charts.
Coach, it's the 3rd game that Taylor's had a 3 touchdown in this year, right? So, first of all, when's the last time you saw any NFL running back not get touched on any of this? And second of all, how good is he right now?
Yeah, I think he's the best. He's the best back in the league right now. There's no doubt. And I think it starts with our guys up front. He's running hard. He's running physical. He's got great vision. He's balling out right now.
Okay, so that's Coach Steichen, and there's an example, Ron, of an offensive mind doing what he wants. Former quarterback at UNLV 1,000 years ago, and he's getting the most out of Daniel Jones times 1,000,000.
Oh, absolutely. They did 2 out of 3 things that are essential for progress to be made. One of which is they added the tight end. We've talked about it for 2 or 3 weeks. They had about 183 yards from their top tight end last year.
We will be hearing from Tyler Warren shortly, by the way. Go ahead.
And Tyler Warren has over 400 yards already. So they have made that offense so diverse. And then a running back we talked about this. Running backs by themselves do not move the win needle.
Right.
But when you have wide receivers that are good, when you have a tight end that you stole at pick 14, and when you revive Daniel Jones' career with the very thing you talked about, a head coach who knows offense, when you have all that balance, your team improves. And the weird thing to me, and I said this yesterday, I've said it for a couple weeks, how is this offensive line limiting sacks? Because the internal clock for Dan Jones wasn't that good at Duke and wasn't that good at all with the New York Giants. But something has clicked, and Jones is a smart guy. You don't go to Duke and you're not, you're smart.
Exactly.
So something clicked and it changed the equation in Indianapolis, and that has to be acknowledged.
I talked to one of the assistant coaches, and I'll be honest with you, I don't even know who it was. He was walking past me in the locker room, and I asked him a couple of questions about his O-line and Daniel Jones, what's going on. And he just smiled and basically said, this guy, and it's what Steichen already said, the preparation that he puts in, he said it's really unusual how much it is, and that's impressive to hear.
Yeah. You know, it's interesting because everybody wants the shiny new toy at quarterback. If you got
Well,
six
they also
or
don't
seven,
want they don't want the rusty old one either, though.
but this year has been the revival of what,
Oh, yeah.
5 or 6 quarter across the league. You got Mac Jones, you got Joe Flacco, you've got Daniel Jones. I'm leaving out people.
All the Joneses.
So the shiny new toys in college, some years they work to perfection, and some years they bomb out completely.
Yep.
And so you're reaching for quarterback because I talked about this on a different show last week. If you don't have a top 12 quarterback, you're not going to the Super Bowl. The rules have just changed.
Yep.
You can't get by with Trent Dilfer or Rex Grossman or any of those other guys at quarterback anymore. You could in the past because the rules were different.
Was more important.
Yeah, the defense was more important. The penalties were different. Yep. Where you start drives was there. There were so many different things. The RPO options, accuracy, stuff like that. So because of that, it's just unbelievable in terms of you reach for these rookie quarterbacks or you revive. Here's another one: Sam Darnold, Geno Smith. Until this year was a revival. Aaron Rodgers is having a better year than he did the last couple of years. So you've got people all over the map. You're just constantly looking for the right mix at quarterback.
Okay, so we've been talking about the O-line for the Colts. This is Matt Gonsalves. What do you remember where he was on your draft list? He ended up going 3rd round 2 years ago out of Pitt. He was standing up in his locker about 10 feet away from me while I was waiting for Tyler Warren to finish up with some people. And I was like, that guy is a mountain. He is 6'6", 327 out of Pitt. Did you remember where you had him ranked?
I would have to look it up. My best guess, because he came from Pitt and their style of offense is pretty suitable to the NFL in terms of what he needs to do.
Yeah,
I probably had him right in the 3rd round, right there. It would take me a little while to look it up. Maybe I'll look it up during the interview.
Okay.
He came out. Tell me again which year he came out.
He came out 2 years ago. It's his 2nd year. 3rd round pick.
2025 or 20?
No, 2024 he came out.
Okay, so
first year. Yeah, this is the 2nd year. And by the way, and Dan Rivera says he played many positions, if he remembers correctly, at Pitt. He also, I think he had to be moved on the O-line to right guard for the Colts. But bottom line is he is one big dude and doing his job. And again, somebody else said, yeah, he is. I forgot what they called. They had a nickname for him. It was like Mountain Man or something. The guy is huge. And when he sat down, thank God he sat down, because I don't think I could reach his mic with my phone or my microphone. Let's hear from him while you look him up.
Okay.
Matt Gonsalves, first of all, you guys, your line, talk about the importance of what you're doing out there.
Yeah, I mean, just when we all work together and we work as a unit, we're all on the same page, it shows what you can do on Sundays.
Okay, so what's it like blocking for that man, Mr. Taylor, who is Mr. All-World right now?
It's pretty good. I mean, when you could see, 28 just cruising into the end zone a lot of times, it's fun out there. So, he does a great job for us.
I was joking with a couple of guys up there. This is the first, I've only been covering this league for 50 years, literally, right? It's the first time I've ever seen anybody score 3 touchdowns and not get touched on any of them. I mean, come on, that's ridiculous.
It's insane. And I was doing a great job, so,
Well, you guys are doing a little something, too.
Yeah, I know.
There's a hole there somewhere.
Hell yeah. So, as long as we keep, blocking up the fronts the right way, we'll keep doing this.
Okay, so you're very close to being undefeated this year, and could be, and maybe should be, in this building. The other one was the tough one, right?
Right.
I mean, how do you explain this? Because most of the league didn't see this coming.
Yeah, I mean, since camp we've had a really good start. We've racked together, a good bunch of games. We've got some good momentum going with the guys up front. Offensive and defensive side, just building some good momentum. So, we're just doing a good job.
Okay, and so is that quarterback. So tell everybody who hasn't seen Daniel Jones in the last few years what he is doing so well behind you guys.
Yeah, I think his preparation, he's getting the ball out quick. There's times where, things are unfortunate. We might miss a block or two or whatever, but he gets the ball out. And, he's very accurate. He makes completions, and he's able to, kind of just develop and, throughout the offense out there very well.
Well, congratulations on a great win. How much fun is this right now?
It's very fun. I mean, it's been a lot of fun. And, it's the most fun I've had playing football.
I bet.
In my career.
Keep it going, man.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks for the time.
All right, so that's Matt Gonsalves, who, as you can see, is about 14 times the size of me. Go ahead.
All right, so I looked it up.
Yes.
And I had he was drafted as an offensive tackle. You mentioned that he's changed to guard. I had reservations as an offensive tackle, so I actually did not have him as a third-round pick.
Okay.
I thought there were some problems with his strength to hold up at either offensive tackle spot. Moving him to a guard, obviously for something like that, moves him up in the rankings. He probably still wouldn't have cleared the third round for me. Appropriate for guard when he was drafted, not appropriate, a round or two lower to me for tackle.
Okay. So I love looking back on that because, hey, you have your decisions at the time and then whatever happens. But he's a key piece to what this team is doing. I don't talk to O linemen very often, but when I saw him sitting there 5 feet away, I said, I got to grab this guy. And he was really nice too. Really good guy.
Remember, they lost 2 guys to Minnesota in free agency, so they needed him to step up. He and the other rookie combined for 13 starts last year. So they were force-fed pretty early last year. Yeah. Let me double-check how many sacks they allowed last year, and that was without Daniel Jones.
Yes.
Of course, they didn't have great quarterback play last year.
With Richardson, you had no idea what was going to go play to play last year. When he was playing, that is.
So what I have for them last year, they only allowed 32 sacks last year.
Okay.
So the combination, sometimes you're right, sometimes you're wrong. So the combination of Daniel Jones and down 2 offensive linemen, even though we had the rookies coming in and now they're second-year guys and they were going to assume the roles, I had them 44 sacks I thought they'd allow this year.
Okay.
Which was a little bit higher than the 41 and a half league average. But what did I have to go on but Daniel Jones' history and so on and so forth? And maybe Richardson, competing. I didn't know who would start, to be honest.
Of course.
So they've allowed 6 sacks in 7 games.
Wow.
It's an amazing success story.
Spectacular. Not only are they protecting the quarterback, but obviously they're opening up just huge holes for Jonathan Taylor. But one more thing on Daniel Jones, okay? As you know, and maybe some of you don't know or wouldn't know, it's almost impossible to get a quarterback to get an interview after a game, right? One-on-one. It's not going to happen. Although a couple weeks ago, I did get Marcus Mariota, and looks like he's back again. But separate from that, one of the things about Daniel Jones is he's a quiet guy. He's not much of an in the interview room. He doesn't say a whole lot. It's pretty much all of his preparation is left for his game plans. It's got nothing to do with what he tells the rest of us. He stood next to me as I was waiting. I was talking to Michael Pittman, a former USC guy, and asking him about Daniel Jones. And Daniel comes out of the shower, walks up to his locker next to me, and I walked over and introduced myself, and I just said, you know what? I don't give a damn what anybody says about you. I said, Mr. Jones, you are having one unbelievable year, and good for you. Keep the blinders on, baby, and just keep going. And he shook my hand. He goes, that is incredibly nice. That's very nice. It's really a pleasure to meet you. I was shocked. Instead of him just, nodding and saying, hey, have a nice day, buddy. That was a nice interaction.
You know, the Indy's 6-1. If they keep this up and they have one of the 2 or 3 best records in the NFL, he's obviously in the MVP. You know, it's not comeback player of the year kind of thing.
Right.
I think he had an injury. It's beyond that. It's MVP conversation.
It's unbelievable. And speaking of MVP conversation, this guy is in the conversation as well right now. Jonathan Taylor, it's like, okay, how often would a running back be ahead of his quarterback if your team is that successful as far as the standings go? And that's how good Jonathan Taylor is this year. Right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, I mean, yeah, his yards per carry is among the top.
Yep.
And when you have something like that and you're opening up the passing lanes, if you have a competent quarterback to go with it, it just makes it very hard for an opposing team to defend. They can run the ball at any time. They can pass the ball at any time.
Yep.
The teams without run-pass balance, you see them around the league. That's what's hurting Houston, for example.
Yep.
It's crippling some other teams as well.
Only a Saquon Barkley has really ever been in the MVP type conversation as far as running back goes in the last whatever amount of years, right?
Yeah, you'd have to go back to I think Seattle had a running back that had like 20 TDs or something like that. And there, Alexander was his name. So, and there are occasional running backs that get that, but it's pretty much a quarterback award these days.
Exactly. All right. So I asked for Jonathan Taylor one-on-one, and they said, we're sorry, he's just way too busy. Everybody wants him. So I just made sure I got in there quick. And I handled we got most of this conversation. I want to get it all in.
Healthy. What's been going on?
It's a combination of everything. The offense is hitting on all cylinders, and it's just coming into work each and every single week, finding a way to continue to do that. Because we know teams are going to continue to give us their best shot, so it's just going to get harder and harder from here on out.
When you have all these weapons and you get to celebrate everybody's play and you get your turn, what kind of camaraderie is that and builds and just keeps the thing rolling?
It's kind of anticipation, throughout the week. You're like, man, I can't wait for you to get in the end zone. And he's like, hey, I can't wait for you to get in the end zone. So when the time comes to go and execute what we do, it's more a tip for celebration. Well, I mean, of course, I didn't know he would be here, but I've always heard, that he was a really, really great competitor, and he prepares the right way. From
Fourth guy to say prepares.
The off season. So of course, once we made that move,
interesting,
and they're like, hey, listen, this guy's the real deal. Like, you guys don't know, but him on your squad, he's going to be the real deal. And of course, you guys are now seeing it full effect.
How complete of an offensive day was this? Obviously, 3 touchdowns for yourself, but also Pitt, Tyler, everyone getting involved with what they did.
We definitely passed the ball around a good bit. I mean, still some things to clean up for sure. There were some drives, of course, we'd like to have back, but when you're able to overcome those things like that, that's when you're starting to become the offense you want to be.
I think 3 touchdowns, maybe that's a hat trick, but you mentioned before an octopus. I think Pitt may have gotten the old touchdown plus a 2-point conversion, right? You get the octopus?
Yes, because he scored. It has to be right after. It's right after.
Oh, it's not on the same drive. Okay.
Yeah. It has to be right after.
Okay.
Charlie told me that.
This team isn't one that really needs external validation, but to have dominated the AFC, the way you guys have, go undefeated against conference opponents. How much did this just solidify this team?
Yeah, I think it just shows that, hey, when you come to play us, it's going to be a 4-quarter match, similar to how it was today. We're going to fight, scratch, and claw until that clock strikes 0.
John, this is your third 3-touchdown game this year. Have you ever done this before without getting touched on any of them? I mean, think how great that is from an offensive line standpoint.
Of course, like you mentioned, when you have an offensive line like we have, I try to give them as much praise as possible because they do a lot of the heavy lifting and dirty work, and they really make the job easy. So anytime we're able to exploit the defense, I want to make sure I make them pay because it's a tough job that they have up front.
What's it like for you to get into the end zone?
It's amazing. I mean, anytime you can get into the end zone, that means you're putting points on the board to ultimately help your team win. So everyone loves yards, but when you get in the end zone, that's how you know you're one step closer to winning the game.
You're among the Offensive Player of the Year candidates now. Just how does that make you feel?
It just is a testament, of course, to the hard work that I put in, individually, but then also collectively as a team, what we've put in throughout training camp to be able to execute at a high level.
JT, it's wild to see how you guys are putting up the numbers that you're putting up right now.
About another minute and a half.
This offense right now.
It's electrifying. Like you mentioned, we have playmakers all over the place. doesn't matter who's scoring. We can't wait for each other to score. So we just understand that each and every single week, defenses are going to throw everything they have at us. So we have to come and prepare.
How satisfying was that chip and release he had on Alex Simmons, the deep ball to Alec on the Thursday?
I mean, usually when you do your play on a job like that on a play, you know it's going to end up in a positive play. So anything that we need to do in order to make sure those guys have time to get open down the field, we're willing and able to do.
You talked about the playmakers.
I definitely think that's what we've been working towards, and we're going to continue to work. Like I said, it's going to keep getting tougher and tougher. Guys are going to keep throwing their best shot at us, and we have to be ready.
What was your reaction when you saw Big Grove do what he did, that interception?
It's
true reaction.
Whenever a big man gets an interception like that, it's always just electrifying on the sideline because we know, similar to offensive line, they do a lot of the heavy lifting and dirty work. So when they get rewarded with something like that, I mean, hey, just let them go in the end zone, let them celebrate, do whatever they want to do because that's a good feeling.
Second time in this building, you could have been 2-0 here. Do you think about how you guys almost should be undefeated this year?
No, that was a few weeks ago. All that mattered was coming in here and making sure we left here with a win. Of course, we look at the film and we get better from it, but same thing we'll do for this week. We'll look at the film, get better from this, but it was just about coming out with a win here.
Okay, so that's Jonathan Taylor, and well-spoken guy. I was lucky to interview him, Ron, before his first game in the league. We at Sports USA, we had Indy that week in week 1, and I asked for him, and they gave me, and we had a nice chat about Wisconsin, where I used to call hockey before his dad was born, but he got a few chuckles out of that. But really good guy, and I talked to the PR staff, too. They love him as well, so good for him, right?
Oh, yeah, and, you know, he was very thoughtful when he answered the questions there.
Exactly.
I like your question about second time in the building, and he didn't pause. He went right into the answer. In fact, he didn't pause on anything you asked.
No, he didn't.
So he was right there. You know, it's interesting because Dan in the chat, he brings up a great point. The schedule will ramp up. So how is it going to? They're going to have a full bye before they play at Kansas City. Then they host Houston divisional game at Jacksonville. At Jacksonville may not be tough, but we'll see. I mean, Jacksonville still has a winning record. But right after that, they stay on the road. They go from Jacksonville, come home, and then they go to Seattle. So that's a little tougher. Hosts San Francisco and then Jacksonville and Houston. The key here is the defense is performing above average, but it's not performing well above average right now. The offense is really keeping them off the field. They're allowing 20 points a game. They're a bit above average with 19 defensive sacks, but maybe some of that is because they played softer opponents. So we will see. I don't think the stats are going to be as bad as they used to be. I don't think we're going to go back to that cover zero defense that the old coordinator had. He's in Dallas now, where he's implementing the cover zero defense in Dallas. So right now you're seeing, you're not seeing a fantastic lights out pass defense, but you're seeing middle of the pack, which is a welcome addition for the Colts to be middle of the pack. So yes, there will be regression with strength of schedule, but I don't see it falling off. I don't see it impacting right now their ability to win the division.
And by the way, this picture, I took this from all the way up in the 4th level with my phone of Jonathan Taylor getting a handoff from Danny Dimes, or Danny Dollars, we should call him now. And most of the time, I don't know if this is their regular, I don't watch them that closely, but they kept going right past number 71, Consalvis. So they're trusting him a lot as far as these plays are concerned on the right side.
Really good offensive game plan, the stretch zone or whatever you want to call it here, but they do a lot of good things. Daniel Jones, again, if he's fixed that internal clock, his pass percentage is going to go up, and his pass percentage is really strong this year. And you're also talking about a guy who has a variety of weapons again, including Jonathan Taylor, who has good hands for the catch.
And one more thing on the Colts, and that is Tyler Warren. I want to get what you recall where you had him coming out of the draft this year out of Penn State. And boy, he's been a huge part of this offense. Now he's got a touchdown in the last 3 games.
Yeah. So thanks for throwing me a softball question.
I'm
Ted.
here for the easy stuff.
The Indianapolis Colts took 35 seconds to get the card up to the podium with the 14th pick in the draft.
Right.
And I think they lollied around because that card should have been up in 20 seconds. He was the number 1 tight end.
That quick.
The Bears took Loveland at pick 9 or so. And, Loveland's a fine receiver, but this guy was Penn State. I mean, a tight end with 100+ catches, stretching the field. He was also used on multiple rush attempts. I'm talking about 15, 20+ rush attempts by clearly a top 10 tight end. It was a match. And like I told you before, like I've told the audience before, the Colts leading tight end last year averaged 11 yards per game. So this was a match made in heaven.
Wow, that's great. And of course, they didn't know they were going to get Daniel Jones to be the perfect combo for him. But so far, they're working great. Doesn't say a lot. He's a rookie. I didn't expect it, but I did want to get a little taste, and I know you love the guy. So a brief little one-on-one with Tyler Warren.
Quarterbacks playing like he's playing in terms of just
after this last question
and get open, he's going to get the ball to you.
Yeah, I think it's good to have kind of that game manager back there, Daniel Spinn, right? He's made the plays, but also just having command of the huddle and we can trust him. He's going to do his job from play to play.
Was it weird coming and playing back here a month before? I mean, you were just here. Is it like Groundhog Day or?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think we're in a different locker room this time.
That's true.
Yeah, what's a different locker
room?
Hey.
So I missed you earlier. First of all, as a rookie, did you ever expect anything like this the way you came into this team? And you're the best team in the league right now.
Yeah, I think my thought process was just being the best player I can be and doing my job, whatever that looks like from week to week, and that's kind of what I've been focused on.
Okay, so you never played at this level. So what is Daniel Jones doing right now that maybe the average guy doesn't notice?
I think the way he prepares kind of sets
prepares again.
So he's ahead of the schedule when he's on the field looking at stuff and what he's reading and all that and checks and stuff. I think he's really well prepared, so it sets him up well for you.
Any surprises about what the league is bringing to you right now? They always say it speeds up at the beginning because it's not college, and then it starts to slow down a little bit. Are you feeling any of that at all?
I mean, I feel like I'm still, I'm learning stuff every week, right? It's my first time doing this, so you really can't get comfortable with you. It is everybody's a professional in this league, and everybody's really good. So I think week to week, it's not really going to get any slower, right? It's only going to get faster.
So how good is Jonathan Taylor to watch him every single game?
Yeah, he's been awesome, and obviously, it's nice to block for a guy like that. It opens up the pass game as well, and you got a running back like that. But he's been great. He's a great teammate as well. So
okay, one more thing. First time I've come in the league 50 years, right? I've never seen a 3-touchdown guy in one game never get touched. He was never touched on anything. I mean, how impressive is that? That means your line is doing just incredible stuff.
Yeah, I think it speaks to the line and the way they've been blocking kind of all year. And you got a guy like JT running with that type of line. It's fun to watch.
Thanks, man. I appreciate the time.
Appreciate it.
All the best.
Okay, so that's Tyler Warren, and that was for you, Ron. I said I got to get this guy because I know you loved him.
Yeah, I'm going to ask a special favor for this coming week too. But meanwhile,
you mean tonight?
It's good, yeah, it's good to spend time with the Colts because they're a success story this year. So appreciate all the interviews.
Exactly. That's the only reason I did this.
Yeah. So
good.
There were questions in the chat, just kind of diverging for a second about Tampa Bay, and Tampa Bay spoiled every one of my preseason game plan because they had a tough schedule early. I wanted them to be 5-6, which was highly possible before their last 6 games, they're going to be favored in all 6: Atlanta, Carolina, New Orleans, stuff like that.
Right.
I wanted to take them to win the division if they were sitting at 5-6, which I, pretty much was realistic at that point, given how hard their schedule is. And they got 2 tough games coming up relatively soon as well. Unfortunately, Baker's miracle comebacks in about 3 of the early games and there's no value taking them to win the division right now. But
yeah,
Tampa does look good. Just get some of these guys healthy. Evans is a big blow because he's so good with routes and contested catch. You just want to keep as many of these guys healthy, get Irvin back at running back so that you can maybe go on a mini run and get a pretty high seed if things go well.
Yep. And Bertie, thanks for the comment. I appreciate it. Let's talk about, since we are the preferred Thursday night football pregame show, let's talk about tonight's game. I will be there. Chargers at home, of course, because I ain't going to Minnesota against the Vikings. And interesting matchup, short week, typical stuff. The best news is we're not going to have to look at those ugly yellow uniforms tonight. I think that's it for the year, I hope.
Yeah, that set me back. You know, it was a fantastic week. I was 7-2, and I said I would deduct 3 points. 3 points for the Charger uniform. I think
you blamed the loss on that, actually, didn't you?
Oh, yeah. You know, it certainly wasn't my fault. No, it was my fault. Again, a little bit underestimating the Colts. But the uniforms, I couldn't even watch the game because of the uniforms.
Or you can watch it, you just have to wear dark glasses.
Yeah, it was ugly. But they have injuries to the wrong positions.
You're talking about the Chargers.
And they may get, I understand they may get Joe Alt back this week at
maybe.
We don't know what strength. Herbert's experienced enough. Obviously, Flores throws a lot at you from a schematic standpoint.
Right.
But the Chargers have the ability to stretch the field. And the way you go after Minnesota is exactly the same way that Philadelphia does. You have to throw over the top. You can't just dink and dunk against Minnesota. You have to take some chances. You're going to get blitzed. So you're going to have to hold up against that. You're going to have to have somebody, either a tight end or a running back, help you in the blitz protection.
Yep.
But Herbert should try to air it out this week and see if he can get some long gainers.
Well, I think that's part of the problem, though, that he's airing it out too much because he has to. He has no run game anymore.
Yeah.
He doesn't have the O-line that he thought he was going to have to start the year. So this is not what Harbaugh had on paper at all. He is going to have to ad-lib for the rest of the season because of these injuries.
It's terrible. I mean, it's terrible for any team to go through this, but you lose Najee Harris, who's a guy who can get you 3rd and 3, gets you the first down. He plows for the extra yards. He does what's necessary. He can also catch. They have the rookie Hampton, who came in with an impressive 2-year stat sheet.
Yep.
And he was finding his rhythm. He was actually performing at a very nice level.
Yeah, he's getting better every week, and then boom, he's gone.
He had a big week, I think it was against the New York Giants, which propelled him to almost 5 yards per carry. He had 14 catches in the first 4 weeks. So they were using him in a variety of different methods. And then he's gone.
Yep. It's a tough way to go because this is not the way that it was structured specifically for Harbaugh. So now we're going to see really what kind of a coach he is. But I mean, we're getting up near the 50 pass a game for Herbert, and that's usually not successful.
Yeah, on the Minneapolis side, they've got to deal with some running back injuries as well. They don't want to be one-dimensional. Carson Wentz, another reclamation story. There is a ceiling to some of these guys. The more you see a Mac Jones and a Carson Wentz and whatever, you and I both know that you plateau at some point.
Right. Exactly.
And so Minnesota would love to have run pass balance. They have a good tight end. Their sack situation, it's a coaching problem because they went out and got 2 starting offensive line. They had Darisaw back at least part of the time as left tackle. They drafted an offensive tackle, and they're still allowing in 5 games 21 sacks. Over 4 per game. They allowed 49 last year, 44 the year before, 47 the year before. It is an offensive line coaching problem.
Okay, but how does that match up today with the Chargers as far as pressure on the QB?
I think the Chargers got a little bit of their pass rush back. Didn't Bosa come back a little? But of course, you have a short week, so they recover a little.
Not
tougher.
Bosa. Bosa's gone. You mean
okay?
Khalil
Mack.
And, yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
So the Chargers are league average in sacking quarterbacks. I think they're going to try to come after Wentz. Right. I think it's going to be met with average results. So Wentz is going to. I mean, Jefferson is tough to stop. And I anticipate that he could have one of those big games again. And, this team has full of weapons. They have the tight end Hawkinson. They have Addison. They have Naylor. So they're going to be tough. Somehow, if the Chargers pass rush does not get through, this could develop into a higher scoring game.
Thoughts on any of these prop plays here? Q Johnson, anytime touchdown scorer. I mean, you know what? I actually like that tonight because that there could be a couple of guys, not just McConkey, who's got a chance to make a few catches in the end zone.
The Keenan Allen 50+ yards seems awfully low to me.
Okay.
Other than that, to be honest, because of a time crunch and starting so late this week, I didn't handicap this game. I have zero props or anything on this particular game because I needed to pay attention to later in the week. I basically knocked out college Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and just went on power ratings alone without handicapping them. So I apologize. Don't have a lot of impact I can tell you here, but I probably wouldn't have had a lot going because I'm more of an under prop better, and this doesn't really set up as a game that you're going to run around and bet a bunch of unders.
And any quick thoughts on Justin Jefferson's matchup against this Chargers D?
I think he could break loose. I think that 100 yards is in play. I certainly think they're going to try to target him. It depends on Minnesota's offensive line. Give Wentz time to throw, and Jefferson will get open. We also have to figure out where Derwin James is going to be on the field. I haven't researched that. Normally, I would be all over news stories to find out who he's covering because Derwin James is that good. And the bottom line is whoever he's not covering is going to be open.
Right. So what about the 3.5 tonight? The Chargers favored?
It's probably a tad high.
Okay.
I have my Charger number circled. I have about, as I've said every week, I have about 6 or 7 teams circled because there's just too many injuries for me to completely trust my power ratings.
Right.
At full strength, I would have made the Chargers 2.5.
Oh, okay. Well, then you're not in a hurry. It doesn't sound like to take the dog, even though there's value there in your mind.
Yeah. At 3.5, I would only look one way. It's an important game for both teams, to be honest. As far as many trying to win the division against Detroit and Green Bay, I don't think they can afford a loss here, but they could afford a loss and still sneak into the playoffs. The Chargers, if they lose this game, might be in danger with everything because Denver's ahead of them. New England looks on pace to win 10, 11, 12 games or whatever with their schedule and with their performing. There's not a lot of open wild card spots available in that particular division. So maybe a tad more important to the Chargers, especially in a home game. If they can win this and then get 10 days off, the morale in Charger land gets a lot better.
Okay. All right. Well, let's take a look at some of the other games coming up there, and I've laid out some odds. I spelled them out in a weird way on this.
Hieroglyphics, great.
Exactly. I want everybody to say, "Wait a minute, where the hell did you get that?" That was custom made, baby. That's how bad of an artist I am. What can I tell you? I'm having a hard time opening this thing up so I could actually read it. So, what do we have there at the top?
I don't know. Your order is different than my order anyway, but you have the Bills and the Panthers.
Okay.
Somewhere around -7, which is pretty much 7 or 7.5.
Right.
As I mentioned yesterday, an important point for Buffalo. Number one, both Buffalo and Baltimore were expected to be better, obviously. Buffalo off 2 straight losses, but they're fine. Buffalo's going to be fine. They get 2 defensive linemen back from PED suspensions.
Right.
So they're 21-9 or something like that against the spread off rest. They catch a Carolina team in incredibly great spirits. But this will be a real test for them. You're going to get Buffalo's best effort in this game.
Okay, and what about Buffalo's defense, though, right now? I mean, is this something they can shore up at all during the rest of the year, or is it the same old story? That's going to be the bugaboo when it comes down to crunch time.
I think their run defense is always going to be a tad below average. Right now, it's like 8 tads below average. It's rock bottom.
A lot of tads.
But you asked if it can get better. Yes. With the rest and these 2 guys getting back, watch the run defense stat sheet. Carolina is a very good running team. If they hold Carolina to 4.0, 4.2 yards per carry, I think that's a good sign for Buffalo, especially on the road. So I think there's a chance that we may want to buy low on Buffalo, but let's see what the defense does the next 2 weeks.
Okay, what about my guy Joe Flacco, and how is he almost a touchdown favorite against anybody?
Okay, well, here's the situation with that
Cincinnati
game.
and the Jets. Yes.
First of all, I mentioned this on Twitter and yesterday and to anybody. Joe Flacco, the art of throwing a touch pass, people don't have that art anymore.
Yep.
Joe Flacco displayed A+ ability.
Yeah,
Did
he
you see
threw a
the
couple
loft?
of really, the soft ones that are just over the top of guys.
Did you see the perfect loft he had on those throws?
They were really nice.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, I almost forgot that that's the way it used to be for some guys.
Yeah. The problem I have with the Jets and why Cincinnati, and I have a light card so far this week. You never know how the odds are going to change. When the Giants went from 7-9 last week, that made me play the game. When the Bears went all the way down to a very soft 4, it was a power rating play. So we don't know how the odds are going to change. I will tell you that I am in on Cincy this week. And I know it's, Cincy minus a lot is not historically great, but the Jets are in complete fatigue right now. Complete fatigue. We don't know who their quarterback is. We don't know if Sauce Gardner is 100% healthy or cleared to play. We know there's still London fatigue with the Jets. We know the owner has called out everybody and anybody.
And we don't know if they have a real head coach or not.
And we know that Cincinnati has 10 days to get over the euphoria of the Pittsburgh game. And we know they're 3-4 and they haven't earned anything yet. 3-4 means nothing if they don't beat this team to get to 4-4. So,
speaking of desperate
one-sided.
teams, I like if just the fact that the Jets are playing, I wouldn't watch it in a million years, but I want to see how Joe does against this team. The Ravens, do we know yet about Lamar? I think he might play. Is that about where we at?
I thought he was going to play, but now there's differing opinions there.
This morning is different. I didn't see anything.
Yeah, last night even there was differing opinions.
Okay.
I don't have anything useful to say about this game because Baltimore's defense has been so bad. I don't know if you snap your fingers and you make it better, all at once. They are going to play a team with a quarterback who just scatters the ball. Sometimes he throws a fastball right in the gut of a player, and sometimes he throws a fastball and the guys on the sideline have to run away from it.
But at least it's in their gut on the sideline.
Yeah. Well, no, they don't want it to be in their gut. If you're if you're a bystander on the sideline, you could get hurt.
Got to wear an umpire's protector's jersey.
Yeah. There's so much variability in this game. I want no part of it.
That's interesting. I think it's a very important game for both teams. Just because I think even though the Bears are on the road and in general, you would say, oh, they're probably not going to win at Baltimore, but because of what Baltimore's D is all about right now. And there is improvement every week with the Caleb and Ben Johnson factor. They could really, we talked about confidence last week. This could really bolster that.
Winning is contagious.
Yep.
Even, for teams that aren't used to winning, or for teams with new coaches and stuff, it really matters. So they're on a good roll, much like Carolina doesn't have a new coach, but they feel good about themselves. We'll see how they match up against Josh Allen. For Baltimore, though, this is another one of those teams. If I'm Baltimore, I'm saying I think Pittsburgh's coming back to the pack. That's what I'm saying in the Baltimore locker room.
Right.
But we have to take care of our own business.
Big time.
There's no reason to read any newspaper. There's only what's going on in the locker room. They won't be playing ping pong this week because they took that stuff out of the locker room. They won't be playing all that other stuff. Some of the leaders apparently in the locker room said, we don't have time for this. We have to get down to business.
Am I the only guy who thinks that hand-eye coordination is good for the old lineman? What do I know? Anyway, Patriots and Browns, the Pats, again, over a touchdown favorite. Is that right? I mean, what do your numbers say?
My numbers made this around 5.
Okay,
so
that's what I figured.
It's definitely not right. Again, though, Cleveland's road home splits are drastic.
Right.
That's why that was such an important play last week. Now they're on the road against a New England team, with a more than competent quarterback. We'll see what they do. Running is hard on either of these teams. So it's really going to be decided by the pass game. And Gabriel is going to be accurate. I expect Gabriel to have a very high pass percentage in this game.
Okay.
The question is, does the accuracy translate into red zone efficiency? And that I can't answer for you.
That's the Indianapolis Colts. They're the best red zone offense in the league right now. They're just been unbelievable. But what are your thoughts, though, on laying over a touchdown? I mean, aren't you heavily leaning on the dog?
No, I'd rather pass this game because
you don't trust the Browns.
I don't trust the Browns in this spot. I think yardage wise, you could be looking at a kind of a lookalike game.
Yep.
I look at the stat sheets. I'm looking at my sheet right now, and it really, there's 3 ways of handicapping the game, and 2 of the ways are going to pick Cleveland because the stat sheet doesn't show 7, and the power ratings do not show 7. The situational home road splits and all that other stuff is just not good for Cleveland. So you got 2 one way and 1 other. I parsed out all the road game stats, and I didn't like what I saw out of Cleveland.
This is an optometrist move. There's the eye test is not showing for you as far as Cleveland goes. The numbers do, though, right? What about Eagles Giants? We only have a couple minutes left.
Eagles Giants. This is an important point that Chris brought up yesterday.
Yep.
Chris who? The Giants beat Philly 34-17 only 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
If not for that, this would be a pretty splash Giants spot. They play well on the road. Dart's elusive. Just because Philly had 1 good game doesn't mean they're going to have 2 good games. They went over the top and stuff like that. You have to be getting Philly's best effort in this game based on the fact they lost to this team by 17 points. I would still lean Giants with 7 or more. 7.5 is what we're looking, but I'm less enthusiastic about that because I think Dart has brought this renewed energy. I can't get inside their heads to know how they're processing the game they should have won last week, though.
How about a divisional Baker road game here? Mr. Mayfield, 4.5-point favorites at New Orleans. The Saints absolutely stink, but they're still playing hard.
Yeah, this line has dropped. You can find 3.5 now.
Oh, really? Okay. I didn't know.
And I think it's because the odds makers know this is not a good spot for Tampa.
Yeah.
This is it just doesn't bode well. They're dealing with injuries. They're dealing with having played on Monday Night Football. They're dealing with a loss on Monday Night Football. They're dealing with back on the road after Monday Night Football. They're dealing with a team that's going to try hard. Yep. And you're dealing with a team that, even though it's a new staff, these teams play each other twice a year, every year. I would not be shocked with a Saints win.
But is this sort of the way we have looked at it for dozens and dozens of years? When there's 2 teams in that division, if it's over a field goal, you just take it.
I mean, you'd like to take normally you're going to get a road dog in a divisional matchup, so you don't get the road dog here. New Orleans in the series as a home dog, it doesn't stand out as a great spot.
No, I get it.
So you don't get that, but what you get, and this is a point, I tried to make this teaching point yesterday, is that the NFL has skewed schedules like never before. So you can't just say, oh, they're on the road, and they're on the road again. That doesn't mean anything. No, this year, they're really taking liberties with the schedule to make television work and everything else. And it's just not a good spot for Tampa.
We're just about out of time. The Colts, obviously 2 touchdown favorites over Tennessee. I wish the Titans well. What about the Broncos 3.5 over the Cowboys? Or does anybody care about the straight play? That's almost about the game's going to be over, whatever the number is with them.
Yeah, I would like to play Dallas, but there's a general situational trend that I trust a lot. That's about 42%. So then Dallas would be in that 42% category. So I'm just going to leave it alone. See if it'll be an interesting test for Denver's defense and for Dallas's defense, for that matter.
Yeah. And the Sunday night game, as we mentioned earlier, Aaron Rodgers playing the Packers for the first and only time in his career, because he is done in several weeks from now. Just a thought on Aaron being a home dog to his old team.
Yeah, and he has 10 days to think about this, and Pittsburgh has 10 days to get the defense right. I'm worried about the defense. For Rodgers, he may be. The question is, when a quarterback's in this spot with the revenge, with the emotions and so on, does he fire on all cylinders, or does he press a little bit too hard in this situation? Yeah. It'll be interesting to see what happens. Green Bay went to Arizona last week, comes home and goes to Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh has 10 days off. Even though Green Bay, I don't think, has played their best football, and they're capable of playing a lot better, and Pittsburgh hasn't played great defense, which worries me a lot. Exactly. I think you have to take the situation into account.
The kid would love to take it. Didn't say that on purpose, but take advantage of the youth factor in this game and show the old guy, you know what? Thanks for teaching me. It's my turn now to shine, right?
Yeah, it's going to be an emotional game. We'll see what happens the week after this game. This particular game should be a lot of fun. Sunday night, a lot of eyes on it. Should get excellent television viewership.
At least Aaron treated Love well as the mentor, as opposed to Aaron's supposed mentor in Brett Favre. We all know that story. Any last thoughts at all, Ron?
Not too many. Just I expect a Kansas City win on Monday night. We don't know if what Daniel's health is going to be.
Right. Otherwise, it's Mariota again.
Yeah. It's not so much. We only have 13 games. To some, they say, "Oh, it's not an exciting schedule." Believe me, after this week, there's going to be reshuffling as to who's in the wild card chase and who's not. This is actually a really important week for a lot of teams.
Right. And we did get one comment from Dan saying Lamar Jackson is expected to play. The line is up to 7.5. Have you seen anything on that at all?
That the line is up to 7.5 as far as Lamar.
Well, it wouldn't go up if he wasn't playing, right?
Yeah. Power rating wise, it's hard to get to 7.5 because part of power rating is assessing where they are defensively. But again, Baltimore is proven as a strong team off rest during the regular season, even during the playoffs when they have the number 1 seed even the number 2 seed with the old playoff bye. Baltimore was good that first week of the playoffs in a lot of cases.
Yes,
so you have to factor that in. I don't think there's any value in this particular game. I see Russell says, how do you handicap teams' rest days when it comes to getting into trouble? So I don't know. Yeah. I don't know about getting into trouble or not getting into trouble there. A lot of handicapping.
We leave that to the NBA guys now, but go ahead.
How many guys are coming back that are impactful from injury? Are they off a win? Are they off a loss? Are they in good spirits or whatever? Are they buying into the head coach's, message? what's the situation? Do they have 10 days to prepare for revenge or not revenge? That kind of situation. Are they, there's like, I could probably name a dozen things that you're thinking of. And when you add them all together, then you get a snapshot and it says, oh, this is really a good situation, or, oh, it's not as meaningful as it's meant out to be.
Yeah.
You really have to delve into it.
All right, we got to get out of here. I just want a quick show promo. Tomorrow at 2:30 Pacific time, right here on my Touching Greatness YouTube channel, a World Series preview show with the Dodgers radio guy, Tim Neverett. So anybody getting ready for the World Series, please join us. This guy's got the inside. He's been a regular play-by-play guy for 7 years with the Dodgers, so don't tell me I don't get you any good co-hosts. Of course, Ron's been a co-host for the last several decades, so it's not even close. Anyway, Ron, good to see you. Looking great. Let's have a great week number 8, folks.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Share the video because hopefully we made some good points here, and be back next week.
You got it. Enjoy number 8, everybody.